Welcome to NCSS Here for You. Since 1958, Northwestern Counseling and Support Services has been providing access to high-quality services which promote healthy living and emotional well-being to the residents of Franklin and Grand Isle counties. Over the years, as the needs of the community have changed, so too have the programs and services that we make available to assist children, adolescents, adults, families, and seniors. We take our role in the community seriously and strive to provide the highest quality services. According to Eric Erickson, a noted developmental psychologist, every person must pass through a series of 8 interrelated stages over the entire life cycle. NCSS provides a continuum of services to meet the needs of individuals who at any point seek assistance. NCSS's purpose is creating a stronger community, one person at a time. Now, let's get to today's show.
I'm Joe Halko, Director of Community Relations for Northwestern Counseling and Support Services, and welcome to another episode of NCSS Here for You. Each month on this program, we discuss a human services topic, and we do that with staff from one of our 3 service divisions. Our 3 service divisions are Behavioral Health Services, Children, Youth, and Family Services, and Developmental Services. And on occasion, we have guests from organizations that NCSS collaborates with throughout the year. This month's episode is a remote broadcast titled The Program for Adaptive and Expressive Arts. Nearly 20 years ago, the NCSS Developmental Services Division introduced this program to the community. The vision of the Program for Adaptive and Expressive Arts is to enhance the lives and the life skills of children and adults with autism and intellectual disabilities through musical, artistic, and sensory experiences. Momentarily, we'll take you to the NCSS Ted Mable Family Center, where we recently spent time in the music and art, plus the sensory rooms. Guests that you'll meet today during our tour who will discuss the importance and success that this program has on participants are Pad Smith, who's the team leader of the program, Tina Cross, who is a member of the team, Brian Turbide, team coordinator, and Bea Corwell, interactive community advocate. Now, let's go to the NCSS Ted Mable Center, where individual and group sessions are offered for music, art, and sensory exploration. Okay, so now we're coming to you from the recently refurbished sensory room here at the Ted Mable Family Center at NCSS. And Tina Cross is with me. And Tina, if you can just explain, first of all, what happens in the sensory room, and secondly, the importance of what individuals partake of when they're involved in this part of the program.
Thanks, Joe. So the sensory room, we work one-on-one with individuals. We teach them skills. The main part of the sensory room is the calming environment. As you can see, we have different lights. It's very calm in here. We have aromatherapy going on at the same time. We have the swing. So some of the sensory processing disorder is actually a neurological disorder in which the sensory information that the individual perceives results in abnormal results. So the way that you and I take in light, sound, feel is different than somebody with a sensory processing disorder. So in the room, I work with individuals one-on-one. We have half-hour sessions or hour sessions. We work on communication, self-regulation skills, motor skills, core muscles, socialization. And so somebody may swing, and I may be having a conversation with them. I may look for them to actually have the swing motion of themselves doing it independently versus me maintaining. That's your core muscle. Communication, I may ask for full sentences that give back and forth of conversation. Regulation, self-regulation is how individuals take in their environment and how they're able to regulate their emotions on how their reactions are to that. So like the fire alarm going off is really hard for a lot of kiddos. So, they may just like totally be really loud, start screaming, and run away from. So in here, I would actually bring my noise level up of whatever, whether it's the vibro bench or an iPad, and just start working on that loud noise to them to start regulating and learning to regulate their emotions and calming down. So there's a lot of different things that I do. Again, it's person-centered, so what I do with one kid may be different than what I do with a different one. Everybody's session is individualized, and it's about building trust and knowing the individual and what they like and making that interaction and that relationship work.
And what would be, I know there's no norm because each individual is different, but like how long would an individual, I know the sessions are a half hour to an hour, but I'm talking about duration, like a month, 2 months, 6 months. In some individuals' cases, because of their situation, would it be almost lifelong? What's the breakdown?
So I have had some individuals that come in for short term, but mostly it's ongoing. It's either ongoing until funding runs out, or they don't want to do it anymore, or whatever the case may be. But if you have a sensory processing disorder, you're always going to have that. You're going to be able to learn to live and cope with those disabilities piece of it, but to continually do it is always increasing your skills. So I have some folks that I started with some kids like at 3-4 years old, and now they're 13. I'm still seeing them. So the more they come and I see them grow, I see their developments grow. So it's absolutely a very rewarding job to see those individuals be able to go to Walmart and hear all that noise and say, I can do this, and they're okay.
So you're saying, it's really a matter of trying to help them to cope better as they continue the program with you, but it's something that they're always going to have to struggle with.
Yes, absolutely. Even me, like I can't go to Walmart in Williston. Like that, the overwhelming noise and the people, it's too much sensory input for my body. So I stay away from that. I can cope with it if I need to, but I try to avoid those situations, which is how we should be looking at our individuals. If we know that Walmart's a really a trigger for them, why would we try to take them there? We'll work towards that, and that'll be our goal to get there, but not to go every week or every day. That's just something, we don't want to put people into those situations until they're actually ready.
You mentioned some ages. What would the age of the youngest person you've ever worked with be, and also the oldest person that you've worked with?
So I have, like I said, worked with youngsters as young as 2, started in here, and the older one I believe was 78. Yep, again, working on socialization, having a appropriate conversation, not just one word, 2 word, yes, no. And then all of that in between. I have a lot of high school kids. I have a lot of elementary kids right now. And a lot of community folks. So just again, and everybody varies on what they're in for. So it's actually a great program because I'm trying different things with different people all the time, and what works for one may work for another, but may not. So I have a lot of tools in my bucket that I can use.
And I think with what you're saying as far as the age is that this sort of mirrors, a lot of times people don't think of NCSS as an organization that deals with the full span of life and individuals at each stopping point throughout a course of life. But you've mentioned anywhere from the age of 2 to 78 you have dealt with.
Yes.
And we know that NCSS deals with even prior to birth with moms who are struggling prior to giving birth, all the way to someone who might be 90 or 100 years old. So I see where there's a lot of the mirroring as far as this program.
And sensory processing doesn't distinguish between typical individual or individual that has autism.
Now, before we leave this room, if you could just point out a few of the
Absolutely.
stations here and explain what they're used for, I think the viewer would appreciate that.
Absolutely. So this is the actual main point of the room, which is our swing. I have 4 different swings. This is called our web swing right now, and as you can see, it's got a curve in it, so it's easier for kids that, or anybody who doesn't have a lot of core stomach muscle, so they don't need to sit up so rigid and straight. I have a platform swing, which is a lot more difficult to sit on and maintain. You actually have to use a lot of your core, so they don't fall off on this one. We have, I'm all about relaxation. So we have a pillow, and then this is the weighted blanket, which helps individuals regulate or decrease their anxiety and calm. So this is like proprioception. So we'll use that. I do a lot of games on the floor, throw bean bags. They got to pick them up, problem solve, throw them in the drum. I also have a couple of square spinny swings that hook from here for spinning. Use those for some kids, not me. No swinging. So these are fiber optic lights. This is my vibro bench. I hook it up to Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, and we can put bass on so individuals can feel the vibrations. And then we play with the lights, and we look at the lights, as well as the mirror. So again, do that cause and effect so people can see themselves. I just have different lights. I have a lava lamp up there. The sensory room is all about calming and helping folks regulate. This is just my activity cupboard, tons of stuff. Over here, I have a tiger rug, and the fiber optics, again, it's just a little area for folks to sit and watch the bubble lights, as well as sitting on the beanbag. The bubble lights are just another calming effect. I have up here a projector, which I don't have on because it would be totally right in your eyes, but it has different wheels, and it just makes, I have a butterfly, a moon, a stars, and whales. Really cool. And a disco light. But we have music. The beanbag is very, very comforting. Everybody loves that. They like to sit in it, watch the bubble lights. And then I just have a lot of individual activities, puzzles, sensory socks, sensory tunnels, body socks, just games to increase that socialization of give and take and that interaction. So, and therapy balls. So yeah, I can use all of them or none of them for any individual at any given time. Some folks have a strict routine that they come in here, they'll do this certain activity, and then they'll go to the next activity, and then the next activity, and we don't stray from that routine because that's their regulation, is their routine and their schedule.
Okay, well, that's great, Tina. Well, listen, thank you very much for the explanation of how this room helps a lot of individuals. And as you've already expressed, it's a lifelong journey for them, and you're trying to help them to cope as best as possible as they age. Now we're coming to you from the group music room at the NCSS Ted Mable Family Center. And with me, we have a whole group of individuals that are involved in the program for Adaptive and Expressive Arts. And I'd like to start this off with Pat Smith, who is the team leader for the program. And Pat, if you'd like to start taking the viewer through a little bit about what the program does, I'm sure they'll love it. So here you go.
Thank you, Joe. Yes, so this is the program for Adaptive and Expressive Arts, and it actually began in 1999 as the Adaptive Music Program. It really started out as a group sing-along program and expanded into using handbells. We started a handbell choir, and that was kind of the impetus to changing the name, because we had to develop these adaptive handbells for the participants to use, which gave us some new information on the link between the music and the physical, which opened the door to using sensory. So that's how the program linked up. Our primary music activities, we do groups. We do one-on-one. Groups are held in here. We have a variety of instruments, and what people play is their choice. We also do one-on-one sessions, which can be working on instrumental music, on singing. We do writing. try to just involve the entire person in supporting their social communication and participation. So I'm going to pass the mic to my colleague Brian Turbide, who does most of the music activities here at PAEA.
Thanks, Pad. So as Pad said, we focus on serving the whole person. And in the music aspect of the program, we focus a lot on socialization, participation, and communication. We do community events where each individual participant is able to do performances in their community. It might be by a recital or a concert, and sometimes we'll do tours of local nursing homes or other facilities. We do holiday caroling, and in this way it gives our musicians not just a place here in the groups and the sessions that they attend, but also a role in their community and a sense of being. And through regular music sessions, the person is able to develop a sense of self and express their own musical style and even reach an understanding of what genres they might prefer. In the process, working on gross motor skills, hand-eye coordination, and we also involve components that are across our program. There's a sensory component to music as well as auditory components.
And now I'd like to introduce our arts facilitator, Bea Corwell, and she can tell you about the art component of PAEA.
Thank you, Pat. What we like to do in here is provide our participants with the tools and materials to create individual arts and encourage personal growth, creative freedom. We use a lot of natural and recycled. Some are donations, some we actually send out and purchase. We do art shows in the spring and in the fall where all of the participants are able to exhibit their finished projects. We also take turns in decorating the tree, our little artificial tree, out into the lobby. We do all the seasons, back to school, Easter. These are some of the adaptive tools that we use. We do have an iPad available, and this as well helps make choices during an art session. These are some of the products that we have finished in the past. These are templates for some string art. This is actually recycled toilet paper that we've had projects made from. We just did some pebble art about a month ago. We've got t-shirt donations. We're going to be making rugs with those in the spring. And everybody just, is very friendly with each other. They have a good time. They're very proud of their projects at the end, and they appear very excited to bring their project home. We do occasional field trips. We went to the Shelburne Museum to visit the art exhibits out there. And I guess that's about it.
Okay.
I'll hand this back to Pat.
Thank you very much, Bea. So I hope what we've conveyed is how PAEA addresses the whole person. There's so many different ways that a person can experience the world, and PAEA tries to bring in every opportunity for that to happen to sustain the person through the rest of the day, the rest of their week, the rest of their life. I'm glad that Bea mentioned the iPads, because another component of PAEA, which we're not going to go into today, is communication, because we find that that is also core to keeping people supported and helping them to be successful. We have a few folks that come in 2 or 3 times a week. The door is always open when there's not a session going on. If somebody needs a few minutes with an instrument, a few minutes with an art supply, to help to settle their day and have them go forward in a positive way.
So you've had an opportunity to learn quite a bit about the PAEA program here at Northwestern Counseling and Support Services. But as with any show, there's several things perhaps that we wanted to get across to the viewer that maybe were just forgotten while discussing various aspects of programming. So right now what we'd like to do, it's almost like doing an outtakes section, but it's really not outtakes, is perhaps add to some of the knowledge that you've already gained about the program, things that maybe for whatever reason we didn't express as we went through room to room here. And I'd like to start with Pad. There are several things, I think, that are really important about the program that you really want to walk away understanding, and the value that this program has for all the participants who partake of it.
Oh, thanks, Joe. This is the PAEA bloopers tape. There's so much that has gone on here in 19 years. It's kind of difficult to compress it into a few minutes on videotape. But I think the most important thing that this program does is it allows people to engage with their peers and the community, and to bring into focus many skills that need some honing, that need some support, but can be so rewarding to the individual, expressing themselves musically, discovering new things about how their body moves in space and time, doing visual arts, utilizing materials that someone may not ever have thought of, finding that a certain instrument gives them a sensory as well as an auditory experience. It's really trying to address the whole person as they exist in their world. Brian, would you have something to add?
Well, there's a lot of research that shows that when people are engaged in something that gives them a sense of purpose, that there's more movement, there's more creativity, and there's more involvement. And this goes not only for the people who come in and participate in our sessions, but also the people that we see when we all go around as a group in the community. Recently we did some holiday caroling, and after we had sung our songs and everyone had cookies and punch, I was invited in to see a woman who was in palliative care, and she was able to verbalize which songs she wanted to hear, and it was quite a privilege to perform for this woman. Maybe one of the last musical performances she'll hear. So that was a pretty moving experience, and for the participants that we have, they have the opportunity to do this too. They can get on stage, they can sing with a microphone. Some people compose their own songs, and it really gives our participants an opportunity to be stars in the community.
Oh, I'm going to give that right back to you and say, where do they get to be on stage?
There's a local church that's good enough to provide us with their space, the Church of the Rock, and they have a nice stage, a big stage, and they also let us use some of their equipment. They also have a smaller stage in their rock cafe in the back of the church where we do recitals. That's more of a candelabra type deal where we have tables and serve snacks and refreshments, and that's mostly for people who do one-on-one sessions, get the chance to choose a few songs and perform as a solo artist.
I don't have anything, but thank you. I think Bea has something she would like to say.
So when I was in the art room, I didn't mean to say toilet paper tissue, as one of our recycled art materials is the toilet paper roll. The cardboard part of it. It's clean.
I was like, wow, we recycle.
It's clean. It's
We
clean.
cut the cost down, but that's a little going too far.
And another thing I'd like to add, Brian, is that when we do have our fall concerts and spring recitals, that we are displaying artwork from our art program there as well. And we've also had from members of the community offers to buy some of the pieces, but the individuals didn't want to sell. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an art and music.
Yes, yes. And we do a 10-week summer library tour. We hit all of the counties in the area, Franklin and Grand Isle. And the projects will spend 2 weeks at each library. It gives the community of each town an opportunity to go in and see everybody's artwork. And the librarians have given a lot of positive feedback from that. And this will be our 3rd year coming up this summer doing that.
And now back to you, Joe.
I want to thank my guests, Pat Smith, Tina Cross, Brian Turbide, and Bea Corwell, for guiding us through the tour of the music, art, and sensory rooms at the NCSS Ted Mable Family Center, and for sharing their insights on the importance and benefits of the program for adaptive and expressive arts. Now, before we go, it's time for the NCSS Factoid of the Month. With the new year upon us, many people have lists of resolutions for the year. One resolution that we'd like everyone to consider is to maintain a healthy balance between your physical and mental health. The association of the two is far greater than most people realize. At NCSS, we provide intervention and support services to children, adolescents, and adults with emotional and behavioral problems, mental illness, and intellectual disabilities. Being mindful of your mental health is as important as addressing your physical health needs. NCSS wants you to know that a mental illness can strike anyone. However, the stigma associated with mental illness either prevents or causes delays for people seeking treatment. Approximately 1 in 5 adults experience a mental illness diagnosis during their lifetime, and half of all chronic mental illness begins by the age of 14. You can learn about early warning signs and symptoms of mental health disorders by attending training that NCSS offers the community, including both youth and adult mental health first aid sessions. And when it comes to stigma, NCSS prefers to view stigma as an acronym for striving to increase good mental health awareness. NCSS is here for you with services to assist in someone's time of need. NCSS, you may not know us until you need us. I also want to thank you, the viewer, for spending time with us again this month. You can learn more about the NCSS program for adaptive and expressive arts and all of our programs and services by going to ncssinc.org. I'm Joe Halko, and I'll be back next month with another episode of NCSS Here for You.
This has been another episode of NCSS Here for You. We hope that you found today's discussion informative and educational. Since 1958, Northwestern Counseling and Support Services has been providing access to high-quality services which promote healthy living and emotional well-being to the residents of Franklin and Grand Isle counties. Over the years, as the needs of the community have changed, so too have the programs and services that we make available to assist children, adolescents, adults, families, and seniors. Thanks once again for tuning in this month. NCSS's purpose remains creating a stronger community, one person at a time.